This story is titled, "I Found Out My Wife Has Been Running a Secret Instagram Account Where She Pretends to Be Single, and Now Our Entire Life is Falling Apart." Hey Reddit, I'm a 32-year-old guy and I honestly never thought I'd be posting something like this, but I need to get this off my chest and maybe get some advice because I feel like I'm losing my mind. My wife, let's call her Sarah, is 30, and we've been married for 5 years, together for 8. Up until about 2 weeks ago, I thought we had a pretty solid marriage. We have a 3-year-old daughter named Lily, a nice house in the suburbs, good jobs, the whole picture-perfect life that people post about on social media. Ironic, considering what I'm about to tell you. So here's the thing, Sarah has always been into social media. Like really into it. She's got her regular Instagram account where she posts pictures of our family, our daughter, our vacations, all the normal stuff. She's got maybe 800 followers, mostly friends and family, nothing crazy. I never thought much of it honestly. I'm not really a social media person myself. I've got a Facebook account I check maybe once a month and that's about it. I always figured it was just her thing, her way of staying connected with people and sharing memories. About 3 weeks ago, I was homesick from work with a nasty cold. Sarah had taken Lily to daycare and gone to her job at the marketing firm where she works. I was lying on the couch, feeling miserable, scrolling through my phone trying to distract myself from how awful I felt. Sarah had left her iPad on the coffee table and it kept lighting up with notifications. Normally I wouldn't even glance at it, I'm not the type to snoop, I've always trusted her completely, but the notifications were constant. Like every few minutes this thing was buzzing and dinging. After about the 20th notification, my curiosity got the better of me. I figured maybe something was wrong, maybe there was some emergency or something. So I picked up the iPad and it wasn't locked, it just opened right up to Instagram. But here's where it got weird, it wasn't her regular Instagram account. It was an account I'd never seen before. The username was something like @SarahSunshineFree, and the profile picture was a photo of her that I'd never seen. She looked amazing in it, all done up with professional makeup, wearing this tight dress I didn't recognize. I sat there staring at the screen, completely confused. My first thought was that maybe it was a backup account or something, maybe she used it for work. But then I started scrolling through the posts and my stomach just dropped. There were hundreds of photos of her. Photos at restaurants I'd never been to with her, photos at bars and clubs, photos with groups of people I didn't recognize, photos of her in outfits I'd never seen her wear. And in every single photo, every single caption, there was no mention of me or our daughter. Nothing. It was like we didn't exist. The captions were what really got me. Stuff like living my best single life, or no commitments, just vibes, or finally free to be me. There were photos of her with guys, not doing anything inappropriate exactly, but definitely cozy. Arms around each other, sitting close at bars, that kind of thing. And the comments, oh man, the comments. Hundreds of people I didn't know, mostly guys, leaving fire emojis and comments like "you're so beautiful" or "wish I could take you out" or "when are you free this weekend." I felt like I was going to throw up, and it wasn't from the cold. I kept scrolling back trying to figure out when this started. The oldest post was from about 2 years ago. 2 years. She'd been running this secret account pretending to be single for 2 entire years. I sat there on that couch for probably 3 hours, going through every post, reading every caption, looking at every comment. The account had over 15,000 followers, 15,000 people following my wife's fake single life. Some of the posts were timestamped on nights when she'd told me she was working late or out with her girlfriends from work. I remembered those nights. I remembered being home alone with Lily, giving her dinner, putting her to bed, thinking Sarah was stuck in some boring meeting or having a harmless girls' night. But according to these posts, she was out at trendy bars and clubs, dressed up, living this whole other life. The worst part was how calculated it all seemed. She never posted anything that would definitively prove she was married. No wedding ring visible in any photos, and I went back and checked every single one. She'd clearly taken it off for these pictures. The locations were always vague, just tagged with the city name, never our neighborhood. She never posted photos inside our house. It was like she'd created this completely separate existence. I took screenshots of everything. I don't know why exactly, maybe some part of me thought I was hallucinating from the cold medicine. Maybe I needed proof for myself that this was real. Then I put the iPad back exactly where I'd found it and just sat there, staring at the wall, trying to process what I'd just discovered. When Sarah came home that evening with Lily, she was completely normal, cheerful. She asked how I was feeling, made me soup, played with our daughter. I watched her the whole time, looking for some sign, some indication that she was living this double life, but there was nothing. She was just Sarah, my wife, the mother of my child, acting like everything was perfectly fine. I didn't confront her that night. I honestly didn't know what to say. How do you even start that conversation? "Hey honey, I found your secret Instagram where you pretend our family doesn't exist." I felt like I needed time to think, to figure out what this meant, to decide what I was going to do. The next few days were torture. I went to work, came home, played with Lily, had dinner with Sarah, went through all the normal motions of our life, but the whole time I felt like I was watching a stranger. I kept thinking about all those posts, all those comments from other men, all those nights she'd supposedly been working late. I created a fake Instagram account so I could follow her secret profile and see what she was posting in real time. And she kept posting. 2 days after I discovered the account, she posted a photo of herself at some coffee shop I didn't recognize, caption saying coffee dates are better when you're single. Meanwhile, that morning she'd kissed me goodbye and told me she loved me. The cognitive dissonance was making me insane. I started paying more attention to her patterns. She'd come home from work, change out of her work clothes, spend time with Lily and me, we'd have dinner, do the bedtime routine. Then after Lily was asleep, she'd say she needed to catch up on some work emails or she was going to take a bath, and she'd disappear with her phone for an hour or two. I realized now she was probably managing her secret account during those times, responding to comments, posting stories, maintaining this fake life. About a week after I found the account, she told me she had a work dinner on Friday night. Some client thing, she said, probably wouldn't be home until late. I just nodded and said okay, that was fine, but inside I was dying. I just knew this wasn't a work dinner, so I did something I never thought I'd do. I asked my mom to come watch Lily, told her Sarah and I both had work obligations, and I followed her. I feel gross even typing that. I'm not a jealous person, I've never been controlling or suspicious, but I had to know. I had to see what she was really doing. So I got in my car and I followed my wife. She didn't go to any restaurant near her office. She drove to this trendy part of downtown, about 30 minutes from our house where all the fancy bars and clubs are. She parked on the street and I parked a few cars back, feeling like a complete psycho. Then I watched her get out of her car and I swear to God it was like watching a stranger. She'd changed clothes. She wasn't wearing the conservative work dress she'd left the house in. She was wearing this tight black dress, heels I'd never seen, full makeup, hair all done. She looked incredible, but she didn't look like my wife. She walked into this upscale bar and I sat in my car for about 10 minutes trying to decide what to do. Finally, I got out and walked past the bar trying to look casual, just glancing in through the windows, and I saw her. She was at a table with 3 other people, 2 women and a guy. They were all dressed up, drinking cocktails, laughing. It looked like a fun night out with friends, which would have been completely fine, except for the fact that she'd lied about where she was, and except for the fact that about 20 minutes later she posted a photo from that exact table to her secret Instagram with the caption, "Out with my favorite people, living our best lives." I went back to my car and just sat there. I didn't know what to do. Part of me wanted to march in there and confront her in front of everyone, but another part of me didn't want to make a scene, didn't want to be that guy. So I just drove home, relieved my mom, put Lily to bed, and waited. Sarah came home around midnight. I was still awake, sitting in the living room in the dark. She seemed surprised to see me up, asked if everything was okay. I said I couldn't sleep. She said the work dinner ran late, it was boring, she was exhausted. She kissed me on the forehead and went upstairs to bed. I sat there for another hour, just trying to understand how the person I'd married, the person I'd built a life with, could lie to my face so easily. The next morning was Saturday. Sarah slept in late, which wasn't unusual for her on weekends. I got up with Lily, made her breakfast, played with her in the living room. The whole time my mind was racing, trying to figure out how to handle this. I'd been sitting on this information for over a week now and it was eating me alive. I knew I had to confront her, but I was terrified of what would happen when I did. Would she deny it? Would she admit it? Would our marriage be over? Around 10 a.m., Sarah came downstairs in her pajamas, looking all sleepy and relaxed. She poured herself coffee, sat down on the floor with me, and Lily started playing blocks with our daughter. It was such a normal, sweet moment, and I felt this surge of anger that she could just act like everything was fine when she was living this massive lie. I waited until after lunch, until after we'd put Lily down for her nap. Then I told Sarah we needed to talk. She looked at me with this confused expression, asked what was wrong. I pulled out my phone, pulled up the screenshots I'd taken of her secret Instagram account, and I just handed her the phone without saying anything. I watched her face as she scrolled through the screenshots. She went pale, like all the blood just drained from her face. Her hands started shaking. She looked up at me and I could see her trying to figure out what to say, how to explain this. But what could she possibly say? "How long have you known?" she finally asked. Her voice was barely a whisper. "About a week and a half," I said. "I found it by accident on your iPad." "What the hell is this, Sarah? What is this account? Why are you pretending to be single?" She started crying immediately, not like gentle tears, but full-on sobbing. She put her face in her hands and just cried. Part of me wanted to comfort her, which I know sounds insane given the circumstances, but after 8 years together, it's instinct. But I stayed where I was, standing across the living room from her, waiting for an explanation. "It's not what it looks like," she finally said through her tears. I actually laughed at that. It came out harsh and bitter. "Really? Because it looks like you've been running a secret Instagram account for 2 years, pretending to be single, posting pictures with other men, going out to bars and clubs while telling me you're at work dinners. So please tell me what it actually is." She took a shaky breath. "I never cheated on you," she said. "I swear I never physically did anything with anyone. It was just online, just the account, just pretending," I repeated. "You were just pretending our marriage doesn't exist, pretending our daughter doesn't exist, just pretending to be someone completely different, for 2 years. And I'm supposed to be okay with that because you didn't physically cheat. I know how it sounds, she said, wiping her eyes. I know it's bad, I know I messed up, but you have to understand I felt trapped. That stopped me, trapped. You felt trapped in our marriage, she nodded and more tears spilled down her face. When we had Lily, everything changed. My whole identity became mom and wife. I loved being a mom, I love our daughter more than anything, but I felt like I lost myself. I missed feeling attractive, feeling desired, feeling like I was more than just someone's mother. So you created a fake single persona on Instagram, I said flatly. I know it sounds crazy when you say it like that, she said, but it started small. I just wanted an account where I could post pictures of myself, just me, not me with a baby or me looking exhausted in mom clothes. I wanted to feel pretty again. And then people started following me and guys started leaving comments and it felt good. It felt good to be noticed, to be wanted. You are noticed, I said, my voice rising. I notice you. I tell you you're beautiful all the time. I try to plan date nights, I try to help with Lily so you can have time for yourself. What more was I supposed to do? It's not about you, she said quickly. This was never about you not being enough. It was about me, about how I felt about myself. But you lied to me, I said, for 2 years. Every time you said you were working late, every time you said you were out with your girlfriends, you were lying. You were out at bars, taking pictures, flirting with strangers online, living this whole separate life. How am I supposed to trust you ever again? She didn't have an answer for that. She just sat there crying, and I felt this weird mix of anger and sadness and betrayal all swirling around in my chest. I thought about all the nights I'd been home alone with Lily, all the times I'd encouraged Sarah to go out and have fun because I thought she deserved a break, not knowing she was using that time to maintain her fake single life. Did you meet up with any of them, I asked. Any of those guys who were commenting on your posts, messaging you, did you meet up with any of them in person? She hesitated and my heart sank. That hesitation told me everything I needed to know. A few times, she admitted quietly. But nothing happened, I swear. We just meet for coffee or drinks, talk, that's it. I never kissed anyone, never did anything physical. You went on dates, I said, the realization hitting me. While you were married to me, while we have a child together, you went on dates with other. They weren't dates, she protested weakly. What would you call them then? You met up with men who thought you were single, men who were clearly interested in you based on their comments, and you had drinks with them. That's a date, Sarah, that's absolutely a date. She buried her face in her hands again. I'm so sorry, she kept saying over and over. I'm so sorry, I never meant for it to go this far, I never meant to hurt you. But you did, I said, you did hurt me. You've been hurting me for 2 years, I just didn't know it. Every lie you told, every time you took off your wedding ring for a photo, every time you pretended I didn't exist, that hurt me. And the worst part is I had no idea. I thought we were happy. I thought we had a good marriage. We do have a good marriage, she said desperately. This doesn't change that. I love you, I love our family, I want to be with you. Then why did you do this, I asked. If you love me so much, if you want to be with me, why did you need this secret life? Why wasn't I enough? And that's when she said something that really gutted me. You are enough, she said. But sometimes I wish I wasn't married yet. Sometimes I wish I'd had more time to be young and free before settling down. We got together when I was 22, married at 25, had Lily at 27. I never got to have that period of my life where I was just a young, single woman in the city, going out, meeting people, having adventures. And I know that's selfish, I know I made my choices and I don't regret marrying you or having our daughter, but sometimes I just wondered what I missed out on. The Instagram account was a way to live that life even if it was just pretend. I sat down on the couch because my legs felt weak. So our entire marriage, you've been wondering what else is out there. You've been wishing you were single. No, she said quickly, coming over to sit next to me. I reached out and stopped her, held up my hand to keep her away from me. She froze and I saw hurt flash across her face, but I couldn't handle her touching me right then. I need some time to think, I told her. I can't process this right now. I'm going to go stay at my brother's place for a few days. No, she said, panic in her voice. Please don't leave, we can work through this, we can fix this. I don't know if we can, I said honestly. You lied to me for 2 years, Sarah, 2 years, you went on dates with other men, you built an entire fake life. I don't even know who you are right now, I'm your wife, she said desperately. I'm Lily's mom, I'm the same person I've always been. But you're not, I said, the person I thought you were wouldn't do this. The person I thought you were wouldn't lie to me, wouldn't take off her wedding ring for pictures, wouldn't go out with other men. So either I never really knew you, or you've changed into someone I don't recognize. Either way, I need space to figure out what that means for us. I packed a bag while Sarah followed me around the house, crying, begging me not to go. Lily woke up from her nap in the middle of this and Sarah had to pull herself together to go get her. I heard her in the nursery, talking to our daughter in that sweet mom voice, and it just made everything feel more surreal. How could the woman in there, singing to our baby, be the same woman who'd been lying to me for 2 years? I kissed Lily goodbye, told her daddy had to go on a work trip for a few days. She's 3, she didn't really understand, just hugged me and went back to playing with her toys. Sarah walked me to the door, mascara running down her face, looking completely destroyed. Please don't give up on us, she said. I know I messed up, I know I have a lot to make up for, but please don't give up on our family. I just need time, I repeated, and I left. I drove to my brother Mike's apartment across town. Mike's 29, single, works in finance, and we've always been close. When I showed up at his door with a duffel bag and probably looking like hell, he took one look at me and said, "Come in, what happened?" I told him everything. Showed him the Instagram account, the photos, the captions, told him about following Sarah to the bar, about the confrontation. Mike listened to the whole thing without interrupting, which is unusual for him because he's usually got an opinion about everything. When I finished, he just sat back on his couch and said, "Holy shit, man, I'm sorry." We talked for hours that night. Mike's perspective was pretty straightforward. He thought what Sarah did was a massive betrayal, that the lying was almost worse than if she just had a physical affair because it showed premeditation, planning, sustained deception. He said I should talk to a lawyer, start thinking about custody arrangements, protect myself. But I wasn't ready to go there yet. Despite everything, despite the lies and the secret account and the fake dates, part of me still loved Sarah. We'd been together for 8 years. We had a child together. I couldn't just throw that away without at least trying to understand what happened, why it happened, whether it could be fixed. I barely slept that night. I kept checking Sarah's secret Instagram account and she deleted it. The whole thing just gone. She'd also been texting me nonstop. Long paragraphs about how sorry she was, how stupid she'd been, how she'd do anything to fix this. She said she'd already called a therapist, made an appointment, she wanted to do couples counseling, whatever it took. The next few days were a blur. I went to work, tried to focus on my job, but I was useless. My boss actually pulled me aside and asked if everything was okay at home because I'd completely zoned out during an important meeting. I made up some excuse about not feeling well. I wasn't ready to tell anyone else what was happening yet. Sarah called me every day, sometimes multiple times a day. Sometimes I'd answer, sometimes I wouldn't. When we did talk, she'd cry and apologize and beg me to come home. I told her I needed more time. She sent me pictures of Lily, videos of our daughter asking where daddy was, which I know was manipulative, but it worked because it broke my heart. After about 5 days at Mike's place, I agreed to meet Sarah for coffee to talk. Neutral territory, no Lily, just the two of us. She showed up looking terrible, like she hadn't slept or eaten. She'd lost weight just in those 5 days, had dark circles under her eyes. Part of me felt bad for her, which probably makes me pathetic, but I couldn't help it. We sat down and she immediately started apologizing again. I stopped her. "I don't need more apologies right now," I said. "I need answers. I need to understand why you did this." She took a shaky breath. "I've been thinking about it a lot," she said. "Talking to the therapist, trying to figure it out myself. And I think, honestly, I think I had some kind of identity crisis after Lily was born. Postpartum depression maybe, or just this feeling of losing myself. My body changed, my priorities changed, my whole life became about being a mom. And I loved it, I really did, but I also mourned the person I used to be. So you created a fake persona online," I said. She nodded. At first it really was just about posting pictures of myself looking nice, feeling attractive. But then it became addictive. The attention, the likes, the comments from guys telling me I was beautiful. It was like a drug. And I know that sounds pathetic, getting validation from strangers on the internet, but it made me feel alive in a way I hadn't felt since before Lily was born. "Did you develop feelings for any of them?" I asked. "Any of the guys you talked to or met up with?" "No," she said firmly, "never. It was never about them specifically. It was about the attention, the fantasy. I liked feeling desired, feeling like I was still someone worth pursuing, but I never wanted to actually be with any of them." "I wanted to be with you, then why lie to me?" I asked. "Why not just tell me you were struggling, that you needed more attention or validation or whatever? We could have worked on that together. We could have gone on more date nights, I could have made more effort to make you feel special. Instead, you lied to me for 2 years. I was ashamed," she said quietly. "I knew it was wrong what I was doing. I knew if you found out you'd be hurt and angry. So I kept it secret, and the longer it went on, the harder it became to stop. It was like I was living 2 lives and I didn't know how to reconcile them." We talked for almost 3 hours at that coffee shop. Sarah told me about every guy she'd met up with. There were 4 in total over the 2 years, all just coffee or drinks, all in public places, all allegedly innocent. She showed me her phone, showed me that she'd deleted the Instagram account, deleted the app entirely, even gave me all her passwords to prove she had nothing else to hide. I asked her what she wanted, what she saw happening next. She said she wanted to save our marriage, wanted to go to counseling together, wanted to earn back my trust. She said she'd do anything, absolutely anything, to make this right. I told her I needed to think about it. I wasn't ready to just forgive and forget, but I also wasn't ready to file for divorce. I suggested we try a trial separation, maybe a month or 2, where I'd stay at Mike's place and we'd do counseling but not live together. She didn't like that idea, wanted me to come home immediately, but eventually she agreed to whatever I wanted. We started couples counseling the following week. Our therapist, Dr. Chen, was this middle-aged woman who specialized in infidelity and trust issues. The first session was brutal. Dr. Chen had us each tell our side of the story, and hearing Sarah explain her actions to a third party made them sound even worse somehow. The therapist didn't pull any punches either. She called what Sarah did a form of emotional infidelity, said the sustained deception was a serious violation of trust. But Dr. Chen also wanted to understand the underlying issues. She asked Sarah a lot of questions about her mental health, her feelings about motherhood, her relationship with me before and after Lily was born. She asked me questions too about whether I'd noticed Sarah pulling away, whether we'd had conflicts about division of labor or intimacy or anything else. And honestly, looking back with this new perspective, there had been signs. Sarah had pulled away physically after Lily was born, which I'd attributed to exhaustion and the normal postpartum stuff. We'd stopped having date nights because we were always too tired or couldn't find a babysitter. Our conversations had become mostly about logistics, about Lily's schedule and household stuff, not about us or our feelings or our relationship. Dr. Chen said that didn't excuse what Sarah had done, nothing excused the lying and deception, but it helped explain how we'd gotten to this point. She said a lot of couples struggle after having kids, that it's a major life transition that changes the relationship dynamic, and that we'd failed to address those changes in a healthy way. Over the next few weeks, we had sessions twice a week. Sarah was completely committed to the process, doing all the homework Dr. Chen assigned, reading the books she recommended, really trying to understand her behavior and change. She started seeing an individual therapist too, working through her identity issues and what Dr. Chen thought might actually be undiagnosed postpartum depression. I was still living at Mike's, still keeping my distance physically, but I was talking to Sarah every day. We'd have long phone conversations after Lily went to bed, really talking for the first time in years. She told me things she'd never told me before about how inadequate she'd felt as a new mom, how she'd felt like her body wasn't her own anymore, how she'd missed her pre-baby life sometimes and then felt guilty for missing it. I opened up too, told her how I'd felt shut out after Lily was born, how I'd tried to help but often felt like I was doing everything wrong, how I'd missed the closeness we used to have. It was hard, really hard to be that vulnerable with someone who'd hurt me so badly, but Dr. Chen said that kind of honest communication was essential if we wanted to rebuild. Around week 6 of our separation, something shifted. We'd had a particularly good therapy session where Sarah had really taken accountability for her actions without making excuses, and afterward we'd gone for a walk in the park. We ended up at this bench where I'd proposed to her 5 years earlier and we just sat there talking. "I miss you," she said quietly. "I miss us, I miss our family being together. I know I don't have any right to ask, but is there any chance you can forgive me? Is there any chance we can fix this?" I looked at her, really looked at her. She looked more like the woman I'd married than she had in a long time. The fake Instagram persona was gone, the person sitting next to me was just Sarah, flawed and hurting but real. "I don't know if I can fully trust you again," I said honestly. "I want to, I'm trying to, but every time you're on your phone or you're late coming home, my mind goes to dark places. I wonder if you're lying again, if there's another secret account, if you're talking to other guys. I hate feeling that way, but I can't help it. I know," she said, and she had tears in her eyes. "I know I did that to you, I know I destroyed your trust. And I know I can't just ask you to trust me again, I have to earn it back. And that might take months or years and you might never fully trust me again, but I'm willing to do the work for as long as it takes." There was something in her voice, a sincerity I hadn't heard before. And I realized that I did want to try. Not because I was sure it would work, not because the hurt had magically gone away, but because I loved her, I loved our family, and I thought maybe, possibly we could find our way back to each other. I moved back home 2 weeks later. It was weird at first, living together again after almost 2 months apart. We had rules, boundaries that Dr. Chen had helped us establish. Sarah had to be completely transparent about where she was, who she was with, what she was doing. She gave me access to all her social media accounts, her phone, her email, everything. I know some people would say that's controlling, that relationships need privacy, but I needed it to feel safe again. We also prioritized our relationship in ways we hadn't in years. We had a date night every week no matter what. We got a regular babysitter for Lily so we could spend time alone together. We started going to bed at the same time instead of Sarah staying up late on her phone. We talked every day, really talked, about our feelings and our fears and what we wanted from our marriage. It wasn't easy. There were days when I'd get triggered by something, see a notification on her phone and feel my stomach drop, even though she'd immediately show me it was just a text from her mom or a work email. There were times when Sarah would get frustrated that I still hadn't fully forgiven her, that I was still holding the past against her. But slowly, gradually, things got better. We started laughing again, being affectionate again. The intimacy came back, both physical and emotional. Sarah seemed happier, more herself, but in a genuine way this time. She wasn't trying to be the perfect Instagram mom or the fake single girl, she was just being Sarah, complicated and imperfect and real. We kept going to therapy, both couples and individual. Dr. Chen said that what we were doing was important, that we were actually addressing the underlying issues in our relationship instead of just putting a band-aid on the infidelity. She said a lot of couples who go through something like this either divorce immediately or rug sweep the problems and end up divorcing later, but that we were doing the hard work of actually healing. About 4 months after I discovered the Instagram account, we were in a therapy session and Dr. Chen asked if I'd forgiven Sarah yet. I thought about it for a long time before answering. I don't know if forgiveness is a moment or a process. I finally said, I don't think I woke up one day and decided I forgave her, but I also don't think about it as much anymore. I'm not angry all the time. I can look at her without feeling betrayed. We can have good days, even whole weeks, where I barely think about what happened. So maybe that's forgiveness or maybe it's just healing. I'm not sure I know the difference. Dr. Chen nodded. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting, she said. It doesn't mean what happened was okay or that you're not allowed to still have feelings about it. It just means you're choosing not to let it define your relationship anymore. Sarah reached over and took my hand. I let her and it felt natural, comfortable. A few months ago, I couldn't stand to have her touch me. The progress was real. We graduated from couples therapy shortly after that, though Sarah continued with her individual therapist and I'd started seeing one too. Dr. Chen said we'd done really good work, that we'd addressed the core issues, and that we had the tools now to handle future conflicts in healthier ways. She said to call if we needed a tune-up session, but that she thought we were in a good place. Life started feeling normal again, or maybe it was a new normal. Sarah went back to work full-time. I focused on a promotion I'd been working toward. Lily started preschool. We did family activities on weekends, had dinners together every night, fell back into routines, but there were still hard moments. One night about 6 months after everything came out, we were at a restaurant for date night and a guy came up to our table. He looked at Sarah with this confused expression and said, Sarah, from Instagram, you look so different in person. My heart stopped. Sarah went white. The guy kept talking, oblivious to the tension. I used to follow your account, he said. I was so bummed when you deleted it. You're even more beautiful in person. Are you still single? She's married, I said coldly, putting my arm around Sarah. To me, she's always been married. The guy looked between us, clearly confused, then mumbled an apology and walked away. Sarah was shaking. I could see her trying not to cry. I'm so sorry, she whispered. I'm so sorry. We left the restaurant. I couldn't stay there after that. We sat in the car in the parking lot and Sarah just fell apart. Seeing that guy, having him recognize her from the account, having him not know she was married, it all hit her again. She kept saying how ashamed she was, how she couldn't believe she'd done that, how she'd give anything to go back and make different choices. I held her while she cried, and I'll be honest, it brought up a lot of feelings for me too. I'd been doing so well, we'd been doing so well, and then this random encounter reminded me of everything she'd done. Reminded me that there were thousands of people out there who knew my wife as this fake single woman, who'd flirted with her, who'd thought they had a chance with her. We talked for a long time in that car. Sarah said she wanted to post something on her regular Instagram, explain what had happened, apologize publicly for the deception. I told her that was her choice, but that I wasn't sure it would help anything. The people who followed the fake account probably weren't following her real one, and our actual friends and family didn't know about any of this. Did we really want to open it all up again? She thought about it and decided I was right. Instead, she wrote a long letter to me, not because I'd asked for it, but because she said she needed to fully articulate everything she was feeling. In the letter, she took complete responsibility for her actions. She didn't blame postpartum depression or identity crisis or anything else. She said that she'd made selfish choices, that she'd been cowardly in not addressing her feelings directly with me, that she'd risked everything that mattered for something that meant nothing. She also wrote about how the experience had changed her. She said that going through this, almost losing me and our family, had forced her to really examine who she was and who she wanted to be. She said she was grateful in a weird way that I'd found the account when I did, because it had forced her to confront problems she'd been avoiding. She said she was a better person now, more honest, more self-aware, more appreciative of what she had. I kept that letter. I still have it, actually. Sometimes when I have a bad day, when something triggers those old feelings of betrayal, I read it. It helps me remember how far we've come, how much work she's put into changing, how committed she is to our marriage. It's been almost a year now since I found that Instagram account. A year of therapy, of hard conversations, of rebuilding trust brick by brick. People ask me sometimes, usually guys at work when we're talking about relationships, they ask if I regret staying with her. They say they could never forgive something like that, that once trust is broken it can't be repaired. And honestly, I get it. A year ago, if someone had told me my wife was doing what Sarah was doing, I would have said the same thing. I would have said I'd leave immediately, that it was unforgivable. But life is more complicated when you're actually in it. When you have a child together, a history together, a life together. When the person who hurt you is also the person you love, who you've built everything with. I don't know if our marriage will last forever. Maybe this experience damaged us in ways we haven't fully realized yet. Maybe years from now something else will happen that brings all this back up and we won't be able to handle it. But right now, today, I can say I'm happy. We're happy. Our family is intact and stronger than it was before in some ways. Sarah is more present now, more engaged with me and with Lily. She's not on social media much at all anymore, just occasionally posts a family photo on her regular Instagram and that's it. She's found other outlets for feeling good about herself. She started running and joined a local running club. She's taken up painting. She hangs out with real friends in person instead of collecting followers online. And me, I've learned a lot too. I've learned that marriage is more fragile than I thought, that you can't take it for granted, that you have to actively work at it. I've learned that people can make terrible mistakes and still be good people worth fighting for. I've learned that forgiveness isn't weakness, it's actually incredibly hard and requires strength I didn't know I had. We told Dr. Chen in our last session that we were thinking about having another baby in the next year or so. She seemed pleased, said it showed we were really committed to our future together. Sarah was excited but also anxious, worried that another pregnancy might trigger the same issues as before. But we have a plan now, we know the warning signs to watch for, we have therapists and support systems in place. We're going into it with our eyes open. Last week was our 6th wedding anniversary. Sarah planned this whole day, got her mom to watch Lily, took me to the place where we had our first date. We spent the whole day together, talking and laughing and just enjoying each other. At dinner, she gave me a gift. It was a photo album she'd made. It was full of pictures from our relationship, from when we first started dating all the way through to recent photos. But what made it special was that she'd written captions for every photo, little notes about what she was thinking or feeling in that moment. The last page had a recent family photo, the 3 of us at the park. Underneath, she'd written, "This is real, this is what matters, this is the life I choose every single day. I will spend the rest of my life making sure you know you can trust me, that you can count on me, that I see you and value you and love you. Thank you for giving us another chance. I'm not going to lie and say everything is perfect now. We still have rough patches. I still have moments of doubt. I still sometimes wonder if she's really told me everything, if there are other secrets I don't know about. But those moments are getting fewer and farther between. Most of the time, I just feel lucky that we made it through this, that we did the work, that we chose each other." So Reddit, that's my story. My wife had a secret Instagram account where she pretended to be single for 2 years. I found it, our marriage almost ended, but we're making it work. I'm not posting this looking for validation or judgment. Honestly, I think there are arguments for and against what I decided to do. I'm just putting it out there because maybe someone else is going through something similar and feeling alone, and maybe knowing that other people have faced this kind of betrayal and survived it will help. If I've learned anything from this whole experience, it's that relationships are complicated. People are complicated. There's no one-size-fits-all answer to what you should do when someone hurts you. You have to figure out what you can live with, what your boundaries are, what you're willing to fight for. For me, I decided Sarah and our family were worth fighting for. Someone else might make a different choice, and that would be valid too. I still think about that day I found the Instagram account sometimes, sitting on the couch sick with a cold, my whole world about to fall apart and I didn't even know it yet. And I think about how different my life could be right now if I'd made different choices in the moments after that discovery. I could be divorced, sharing custody of Lily, starting over alone. Instead, I'm here in my house with my wife asleep upstairs and my daughter in the next room, and yeah, we've been through hell, but we made it out the other side. Someone asked me recently what advice I'd give to someone going through something similar, and honestly, I don't know if I have good advice. Every situation is different, but I guess I'd say this: don't make permanent decisions based on temporary emotions. When I first found out, I was so angry I could barely think straight. If I'd filed for divorce that week, I would have regretted it. Taking time, getting space, going to therapy, those things helped me see the situation more clearly and make a decision from a calmer place. I'd also say that if you decide to stay to try to work it out, you have to really commit to it. You can't half-ass rebuilding trust. You can't bring it up every time you fight. You have to actually do the work, go to therapy, have the hard conversations, be willing to be vulnerable again even though you're scared. And the person who messed up has to do even more work. Sarah had to be completely transparent, completely patient with my healing process, completely committed to changing. If she'd been defensive or made excuses or tried to minimize what she'd done, it never would have worked. But most importantly, I'd say you have to really examine whether you want to stay because you love the person and believe in the relationship, or whether you're staying because you're scared of being alone, or you're worried about what other people will think, or you're just comfortable. I stayed because I genuinely love Sarah, because I believe she's remorseful and committed to change, because I think our relationship is worth saving. If those things hadn't been true, I would have left. Anyway, that's enough rambling from me. Thanks for reading if you made it this far. I know it's a long story, but it's been a long year. I'm going to go check on Lily and then join Sarah in bed. Tomorrow we have a family day planned, maybe go to the zoo, just normal family stuff. And I'm grateful for normal. After everything we've been through, normal feels like a gift. Edit, while I didn't expect this to blow up. I'm reading through the comments and I appreciate everyone sharing their perspectives. Some of you think I'm an idiot for staying, some of you think I did the right thing, some of you are going through similar situations. I'm trying to respond to questions where I can. A few people asked if I'm really over it or if I'm just pretending. Honestly, I'm not sure I'll ever be completely over it. It's not something you just forget about, but I've made peace with it, if that makes sense. I've accepted that it happened, that it hurt me, and that we're moving forward anyway. Someone asked if Sarah still has any social media. Yes, she has a Facebook and Instagram, but they're both private now and she barely posts. Mostly just birthday wishes to family members and the occasional family photo. She's not on TikTok or Twitter or anything else. We also have a shared photo album on our phones so I can see all the pictures she takes, which was her idea, not mine. A couple people asked about Lily and whether she noticed anything during the separation. Honestly, she was so young that I don't think she fully understood. We told her daddy had to stay somewhere else for a little while because of work, and we made sure she still saw both of us every day. Kids are resilient, but we're also planning to be honest with her when she's older about the fact that our marriage went through a rough patch. We want her to understand that relationships take work and that it's okay to struggle as long as you work through it together. Thanks again for all the support and for sharing your stories. It actually helps to know I'm not alone in going through something like this.